The 2026.3 release of Home Assistant is almost with us, and I've been looking at everything that we're getting in this update. There are some great features this time around, but I think it's fair to say that I haven't seen a release like this for a long time, so you certainly don't want to miss this one. So stick with me as I break down everything you need to know about it before you decide to upgrade. Hey everyone, my name's Simon and welcome to Byte of Geek, a channel that's all about Home Assistant and smart home technology. So here we are with the new 2026.3 release of Home Assistant, and this is a very different release to those we've had over the last few months. Yes, we've got some new features, some of which are very nice and many will have been waiting for them, but I think this release is going to be remembered for one key area, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. As I always mention, this is a beta release of Home Assistant, and as such it can be subject to change before the final release, with features potentially dropped or added at the last minute. I'll put a link to the release notes in the description of this video if you want to read about the update in more detail. So let's get going and look at what's in store for the March release of Home Assistant. Starting off with the new features then, and if you have a robot vacuum, then I'm sure you're going to welcome this new addition, and that is that this release introduces a new clear area action, which now enables you to send off your little robot to clean one or more areas directly from Home Assistant. No more having to open the app for the vacuum and select the room from there, or just settle for the whole floor being cleaned. Now you can go wild with your automations and build this directly into Home Assistant. And one of the best bits with this is that you can actually map the vacuum segments that it already understands to your existing Home Assistant areas that you've likely already got set up. And there's a whole new dialog for this, and if your vacuum supports this functionality, then you'll see this either as a repair or via the settings in your vacuum entity. And if you ever change your map layout in the vacuum app, or if your vacuum maps out further areas, then Home Assistant will automatically know about this as well. This new feature is just the start, and with what's been built so far, we can expect future updates to Home Assistant that will allow voice control as well. So now you'll be able to say things like clean the dining room, and it will do that all via Home Assistant. So for now, you'll be able to use this new feature if you have a vacuum via Matter, EcoVacs, or the Roborock integrations. Next, and the energy dashboard has had some tweaks to it, and the first is that the Now view has got some new tile cards that show real-time consumption, gas and water flow rates, and there's been some small tweaks elsewhere, with the energy tab now being renamed to electricity, and tooltips now include the day of the week on the energy bar chart. We've got an update to the automation editor this release, with the addition of the continue on error option in the action menu. This was something you could always do in YAML, but now it's been brought into the UI. And for those that didn't know already, basically this enables your automation to continue even if there's a single failing action, which is super useful to have. Finally, for the new features, we have a new experimental feature for Android phone users, and that is there's now the ability to use your phone with a wake word. So now you can say okay or one of the other wake words that voice supports, and you can then use assist going forward. There's a big caveat with this new feature though regarding battery life, as it needs continuous microphone access and CPU usage. So the suggestion is to kind of set up your own automation to enable this, depending upon where you might want to use it. So there's some nice new features in this release, and I'm sure many robot vacuum owners will be pleased to see the introduction of the area cleaning, which I know has been something that's been wanted by many people for quite a while now. Now, since I started doing these update reviews, I don't recall seeing so much work being done on integrations as there has been in this release. The list is just incredible, and it just goes to show the amazing power of Home Assistant for your smart home. Integrations are one of the key aspects of Home Assistant, enabling you to connect devices or services and bring them in to your smart home. And if you're using Home Assistant, it's important to keep up with the latest updates each month. So make sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss my next video. But starting things off, and we've got a new Ghost integration, and Ghost is an open source publishing and CMS platform. So now you can get access to all kinds of data, including number of members, newsletter performance, revenue, all that kind of information, and build that all into your own Home Assistant dashboard. If you have a Hagel music system amplifier, then you'll be pleased to hear that there is now a new integration allowing you to manage that via Home Assistant. Home Vault battery owners can now bypass the cloud and read local data straight into Home Assistant and build dashboards with various stats like power, energy and temperature. Those with Hypontec solar inverter systems have a new Hypontec cloud integration that now gives you access to power production, energy yields and system status. And if you're looking for another backup option, well, now there is a new iDrive E2 integration enabling you to be able to back up Home Assistant to an iDrive E2 bucket. And with this next one, well, I'm starting to see a bit of a theme with integrations this month, and that's a new IndyVault integration which allows you to communicate directly to your storage devices over your local network for energy production, consumption and battery status. If you have a Fantini Cosmi ventilation devices, then there's a new IntelliClimate integration which enables you to control fan modes and speeds. And if you've ever wanted to control and monitor your Liebherr smart fridges and freezers, well, now you can, albeit via the cloud, but giving you access to cooling settings and food safety alerts. Users of the New York City subway lines can now get real-time subway arrival predictions via the new MTA New York City Transit integration. And if you have Axenco My Pneumatis electric radiators or underfloor heating, then I'm sure you'll be excited to see a new My Pneumatis integration added in this release. But why stop at one integration for Home Assistant backups this release when you can have two? And we've now got a new OneDrive for Business integration as well. If you have PowerFox Power Opti devices, then there's now a PowerFox local integration with this update that now gives you local access to data over your network and faster updates as well, all without the cloud. Red G-Tech smart switches and relays can now be controlled via the new integration by the same name. And if you have a System Nexa 2 smart devices such as lights, switches and plugs, then you have a new integration as well. Those with Teltonica Networks routers now have a new integration for tracking cellular signal quality, temperature and connectivity, and yet more local control options with the new Train local integration, enabling you to control Train and American standard thermostats over your network. And finally, ZinVault battery owners can also monitor state of charge and other battery metrics with this release. So those are the new integrations, but we also have what can only be described as a massive list of updates to existing ones, by far the biggest list of changes I've seen yet. So I'm just going to pick out some of the key ones, starting with Matter, and that now supports carbon monoxide alarm states and TVOC air quality level sensors. HomeKit controller now exposes water level sensors. SmartThings has been updated to now support dual cavity Samsung ovens, of which each have their own entity, and it's also gained switch and select controls for Samsung dishwasher, washing options like sanitize, heated dry and speed booster. Roborock now fully supports Zeo washing and drying machines with program selection, temperature control, drying modes and detergent status sensors. SwitchBot now lets you add passwords to keypad vision devices programmatically, and if you have the curtain devices, then there's now also a slow mode setting which reduces the noise levels and helps them work better with heavier curtains. SwitchBot Cloud now supports the SwitchBot AI art frame, so now you've got battery level, next and previous picture buttons and a display image entity showing the current picture, which I think is a lot of the functionality that people have been waiting for, so that's great to see. Devices now support Amazon air quality monitor devices, exposing sensors for air quality index, VOC index, humidity, temperature, and particulate matter. Nanoleaf replaced its underlying library, and therefore it fixes the authorization errors that prevented newer Nanoleaf Essentials devices from connecting. Proxmox VE has now got some new sensors for CPU usage, memory usage, disk usage, and status sensors for nodes, virtual machines, and containers. Sleep IQ have 5 new sleep health sensors for each sleeper. So now you've got sleep score, sleep duration, heart rate average, respiratory rate average, and heart rate variability. LG Soundbar has now been updated to support play and pause media control, show the current track title, artist, and album art, and it will now report the playing pause state. NRG Kick EV chargers now have a switch to enable or pause car charging directly from Home Assistant, and Compit has had a host of new functionality with new water heater, number, and binary sensor platforms for controlling hot water, adjusting temperature settings, and monitoring device states across the HVAC product range. That's just a handful of the 40 integrations that have been updated this month. But if you want to read the full list of improvements, then don't forget to check out the link in the description of this video. This release also sees a significant number of integrations moving up the quality scale. I think this is the largest number that I've seen since I started doing this series, and this is great news for everyone who uses these integrations. Starting off, we have 9 integrations reaching platinum level, and they are GEOS, HD Fury, Image, Namecheap, Dynamic DNS, Portainer, PowerFox Local, Watts Vision Plus, WLED, and Xbox. We have 5 integrations moving to silver, and they are BSB LAN, Devolo Home Control, Home Vault, NRG Kick, and Telemetry. Finally, we have 6 integrations that move to bronze, and those are Aladdin Connect, Anthropic, OpenAI, OpenEVSE, Splunk, and vSync. As always, it's great to see all the hard work from those contributing being recognized in the releases to make these integrations better for everyone. And if you're impressed with the sheer number of new integrations, updates, and improvements this release, then hit that like button. As for notable changes this release, well, we have changes to the settings pages for Matter, Z-Wave, Zigbee, and Bluetooth, which have been updated to make them just a bit clearer. You can now ask Assist to remove items from a to-do list, which should make it just a little bit easier to manage your lists. The Statistics Graph Card Editor now offers year as a selection, so now you can easily see annual trends. The security dashboard has been updated to include automated windows or window type covers, and they can now appear alongside your door and window sensors. And the sections view has been updated to now have a footer. Just like the header, this now gives you a sticky footer on your dashboard. It's also worth noting that Home Assistant will now be running on Python 3.14, which brings performance improvements across the system in general, with faster startup times and better memory usage, which should make everything feel a bit more responsive. There's a good handful of breaking changes in this release, and we start off with a change to a BSB LAN. And if you use the water heater operation mode state in your automations or scripts, then this now needs to be changed from on to performance. Next, we have container image, and container images are now compressed with Z standard instead of gzip. So if you're running a really old container runtime, maybe something that is pre-2021, then this might affect you if you're updating. So you just need to ensure that it supports Z standard. LifeX users who are using the color temp parameter in the effect pulse option will now need to change this to color temp Kelvin. And likewise for lights, there's been a number of changes here that also includes the change from color temp to color temp Kelvin. Those using the Satel Integra integration should note that whilst the alarm panel is starting up, Binary sensors and switches will now report an initial state of unknown. Previously, it was set as off. So if your scripts and automations were using that, then they'll all need updating. If you're using Snapcast, then media player entities for Snapcast groups and Snapcast specific grouping actions have all been removed. And Starline users should note that ignition and auto start state attributes of the engine switch have been removed and have been replaced with 2 new binary sensors that have been introduced. If you're using the mobile device tracking in the Tado integration, then mobile devices and their related tracking entities are now no longer available. Template fans have had some behavior changes, starting with the fans state, which will now be unavailable if the state template encounters a syntax error. Percentage attribute will be none if the percentage template encounters a syntax error. And finally, template fans can have an unknown state if a state template returns none. So there will likely be some updates to your scripts and automations for those of you using that. Finally, we have Z-Wave, and if you have a fan, then the percentage speed has now been corrected to align with other integrations, the impact of which is that you might see a small variation in the percentage reported. But if you have anything set up that uses the exact percentage reported, then you'll need to adjust that accordingly. So that's what the 2026.3 release of Home Assistant has for us, and I think it's quite a different update to what we're used to, with far more integrations than normal. I'm sure many people will be pleased with what's been added, but what's your favourite from this update? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss more Home Assistant updates like this, as well as all the other smart home content that I create on the channel. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.